Good morning, friends. Thank you so much for being here. My name is David. As always, grateful to share this practice with you. Thanks for showing up and being here and being in my life, whether you're stopping by just to see what's going on in the video or if you are practicing along with me. Again, thank you for being here. For today's practice, this whole week for me has been focused on a practice of peace and been praying a lot. And I find that when time is spent in a place of prayer, and by prayer I mean not asking anything for myself personally, but just praying for events, praying for peace, praying for balance, praying for tranquility, I find that a deep inner peace washes over me. And it's because that activity is consuming and being an experience of time rather than going out and chasing all these things that are the antithesis of peace. And there is a very famous woman who I've enjoyed reading over the years, and mainly the quotes, but her name is Mildred Lisette Norman, and she goes by the coin name of Peace Pilgrim. And a little bit about Mildred. From 1953 until 1981, a silver-haired woman calling herself only Peace Pilgrim walked more than 25,000 miles on a personal pilgrimage for peace. Wearing a blue tunic and carrying just a few worldly possessions in her pockets, she shared her simple but profound message in thousands of communities throughout the U.S. She said, "When enough of us find inner peace, our institutions will become peaceful, and there will be no more occasion for war." And so many times, I can speak for myself personally, I've tried to search for peace outside of me. Where is it? Where is it? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? That brings me temporary peace for a moment, but then everything else comes rushing back in again. I tried a lot of different substances too in order to try to find that inner peace, or that peace, but the truth is, peace is on the inside. It always has been. Now we can look at historical books and texts to help us point us in a direction. Things like the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga Sutras, the Tao Te Ching. There's a number of different mindfulness books out there that can point us in the direction, but it's more about taking that teaching, absorbing it, and recognizing that it is something within that has been seeking it out to confirm itself. And so that's why I say peace is within, and it's important to look within when we are attempting to find peace. Now, it's not easy to just sit down and meditate for those that are beginners, because for those that have no experience with it, just like I didn't have an experience with it, it's going to seem very foreign, like a new language. But that's why we start slowly with it. Inner peace, peace begins internally. And when we start to recognize that what may be taking in place inside of us is out of balance, misaligned, not fully connected to what some call source, when we start to make that connection a little bit more, we find more peace. The physical tension in the body begins to release. The pain in the body begins to release. The stress that we're feeling that overcomes us also finds a little bit more peace. This is not science. It's more than just philosophy, it's a practice. And it's recognizing that each and every one of us has the capacity and capability through fervent effort and practice to find that inner peace. But If we're not practicing it, all it is just me making mouth noises, and it's just sort of a lip service. And so that's why it's important, anytime a teacher says something, it's valuable to remember to put it into practice and see for yourself experientially. There's many different mindfulness practices out there. And if all we're doing is just hearing it, taking it in, without actually practicing it to have the experiential benefits from it, then we're always going to be seeking. And so, as we move through our practice today, let us practice with peace. Let us redefine what peace means to us as an individual. Let us carry that peace from our mats or our place of practice into the halls outside the room that we practice in, into our cars that we drive, into our communities that we connect with. We all have the capacity. It's whether or not we choose to or not. And I lovingly suggest, choose peace. See how that fits in your life. See how it unfolds things differently by practicing peace. Let some of your day be filled with contemplating peace. Let some of our actions be filled with peaceful actions towards ourselves and others. Peace Pilgrim said, when you find peace within yourself, you become the kind of person you can live at peace with others. She said, this is the way of peace. Overcome evil with good, falsehood with truth, and hatred with love. And if we are holding on to evil, falseness, and hatred, we are not going to experience peace. We must learn to transition and transcend. She said, the way of peace is the way of love. Love is the greatest power on earth. It conquers all things. If you realized how powerful your thoughts are, you would never think a negative thought. We are all cells in the same body of humanity. With that said, let's go ahead and begin our practice. Let's lay down on our backs. As we lay down on our backs, place the left hand over the heart, right hand on the belly. Draw the shoulder blades down the back, let the collarbones spread. Relax the face, lips, eyes, mouth, and jaw. Begin to let go. Let go of your day, your week, what's next, and what's to come. Focusing on what is not here prevents us from experiencing peace, because peace rests in the present moment. And the more we are present, the more peace we experience. Begin to notice the breath. Observe the inhales and exhales. Feel the body breathing. Feel the depth of the breath, the pace of the breath, and the balance in the breath. And let's begin to breathe together. Please take a long, slow breath in, fill lungs up. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in, please fill lungs up. Exhale, let it go. Full breath in. Exhale. And deep breath in. Exhale. Continue to breathe on your own. And as you breathe on your own, take a moment and check in with your body. Does your body feel at peace today? If not, that's okay. Let's try to bring it into a deeper state of peace. Observe where there's tension in your body, stress, tightness, soreness, imbalances. Let us go into this day with a little bit more peace in our hearts. Let us not be afraid and practice courage and not shy away from these ideals of peace. Let's deepen our breath. Please take a long, slow, deep breath in. Feel the navel rise, chest expand, collarbones spread, shoulders down the back, long spine. Relax the face, lips, eyes, mouth, and forehead. Hold your breath at the top of the inhale. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in. Smooth breath out. Again, please take another long, slow, deep breath in. Feel the navel rise, chest expand, collarbones spread, shoulders down the back, long spine. Relax the face, lips, eyes, mouth, and forehead, holding your breath at the top of the inhale. Exhale, let it go. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Feel the navel rise, chest expand, collarbones spread, shoulders down the back, long spine. Relax the face, lips, eyes, mouth, and forehead. Hold your breath at the top of the inhale. And this time, set a clear, focused goal or intention for your practice today. Maybe that intention is to have a little bit more of a peaceful day, to serve with peace, to act with peace, to speak with peace. Exhale, let it go. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. Let's do an Om together. Inhale. Inhale, fill lungs up. And exhale, let it go. Gently release the arms down along the sides. Ever so slightly begin to move the fingers, move the toes, circle out the wrists, circle out the ankles. It's always sparked my curiosity how we're not afraid to use profanity, but for some reason doing an Om is this very scary and foreign and weird thing. Practicing Oming throughout the day can actually bring a lot of peace. I would suggest doing it, and if you're uncomfortable doing it in front of people, just try it on your own. Showers are really great places for that. Opposite direction with your wrists, with your ankles. Laughter. Laughter brings a lot of peace too. Terence McKenna coined it as the cosmic giggle. But practicing laughing and laughing at life, laughing at ourselves, release the arms along the sides, can bring a lot of peace. On an inhale, reach the arms up and over the head. On the exhale, release the arms down along the sides. Inhale, reach the arms up and over the head. Exhale, arms down along the sides. Inhale, arms reach up and over the head. And exhale, arms down along the sides. On an inhale, reach the arms up and over the head, interlace the hands, lengthen through your legs, point through the toes, and extend through your body. As you extend through the body, you can take your arms to the right a little bit, take them over to the left. Let's do that again. Over to the right, over to our left, over to our right, over to our left, then back to center. Inhale, point the toes, lengthen, reach. And on the exhale, please release the arms down along the sides. Flex the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms back up and over the head. Other pinky on top, interlace the hands, press the palms. Let's take our arms over to our left. Take them over to your right. Slowing down brings a little bit more internal peace. Over to our left. Over to our right. Over to our left. And it's important to watch those narratives over to the right, those narratives that say, but I can't slow down. Yes, we can. I said those things too. Take a deep breath in, press the palms. Exhale, release the arms down along the sides. Gently hug both knees into our chest. And the reason why I suggest slowing down is because when we slow down, rock side to side, when we slow down, we can begin to see the effects of our actions and our words on others. But when we are in our heads, moving through life quickly, unconscious of the things we are saying and doing, we can actually be causing quite a bit of not just self-destruction, but also problems for other people too. And so slowing down and understanding how we are affecting the world around us can also bring us peace. Coming back towards center, thighs in, knees in, shoulders down the back of the head down. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And full breath in. Exhale, let it go. Lengthen your left leg forward. Right knee, right thigh hugs in towards the chest. Flex through both feet. As you flex through both feet, draw the shoulder blades down the back, spread through your collarbones. If it's too much to interlace the hands over the shin, try interlacing the hands behind the back of the hamstring if that's easier for you. Remember, even in our physical practice, how can we bring peace into our movements and into our postures? Long, slow, steady breath in. Breath out. Deep breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And breath out. And friends, we can't be afraid. I mean, we can be, but we have to learn to talk about peace. Whether it's in our communities, whether it's with our loved ones, gently asking them, what does peace mean to you? And just hearing them, not rejecting what their answer is, but just accepting what their answer is, acknowledging it and allowing it. The triple A's: allow, accept, and acknowledge. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, left hand to the left hip, right hand to the right knee. Circle your right knee out. And the reason I say this is because through the inquiry of asking others, we begin to attain a better barometer for understanding what peace means to other people, not just our own perceived idea of peace. And the more people we can ask, we're going to get a lot of different answers. We can begin to also practice a little bit more compassion, but also through the self-reflection process, svadhyaya, self-study, we can begin to understand how our actions and our words are either adding to that peace or distracting from that peace from occurring. But that's if we want to do the work. And then go in the opposite direction with the knee. And I can promise you this, the work is worth it. There's no timeline for the work. When the individual is ready, the teachings will come and the work will come. There's no pressure to do the work. The work is just the work. But as we continue to stay focused on the work, more peace will begin to arrive, and we rediscover it again. Good. Please bring your right knee into your chest. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, switch. Take the right leg forward, opposite interlace of the hands around the left shin. Flex through both feet, back of the head down, elbows in, collarbones spread, shoulder blades down the back. Feel the left rib cage and left thigh connecting. Slow, steady breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Full breath in. And exhaling. Breathing on your own. And of course, and this is why compassion and understanding is important, but for some people, peace is a very foreign thing. Peace may not look like our idea of peace. And that's why I say ask, meditate on peace. It's not about challenging others with peace, it's just gaining a better understanding of it, to see how we are aligning with it, or maybe we're out of alignment with it. And that's okay too. As my teachers have said, we're all children of the earth, we're all children beneath the sun. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to get better at what it is that we are been called to do here. Something somewhere trusted us with a voice. We've been given a voice to communicate. How do we choose to communicate amongst each other? Right hand to right hip, left hand to the left knee. Circle the left knee out. And this, I find, is the true diplomacy in learning how to speak in a language of peace, not only to ourselves, but to others. It's practice. You can't necessarily convince peace. You have to actually understand peace and feel peace. You can talk about it all we want. And I feel that's important too, because the more we hear the word peace in our peripheral or in our immediate attention, words have a powerful way of manifesting themselves. Speak of peace often. It's okay. There may be those that disagree, and that's okay too. I allow it. I don't try to fight that. When people are ready for peace, they'll come to it. Opposite direction. Circle the knee out. And by the way, I'm not saying at all that I am some saint of peace. Please do not assume that. There's many times during my day where I get a little disruptive. I'll give you an example. Last night I was teaching a meditation and there was a bunch of noise taking place upstairs. And I was like, wow, isn't this perfect? You know, here I am giving a meditation on peace and there's all this extraneous noise taking place outside of me and my mind's going, can't this noise just stop? And I'm like, oh, there's the teaching right there. Thank you for that. It's always a humbling practice. Always a humbling practice. Bring the left knee back into your chest. Bring the right knee into your chest. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Fill lungs up. Exhale, let it go. Let's lower our feet down with bent knees. And let's start to open up our hips. Cross your right ankle over the left thigh. Interlace the hands behind the back of the left hamstring. Use the right forearm to gently press the inner right thigh away from you. And then flex through the feet. Steady the breath. Slow the breath down. Peace Pilgrim said, pure love is a willingness to give without a thought of receiving anything in return. And a good self-inquiry question is what am I willing to give without worry about return? What am I willing to give without the worry of return? When we are in a state of pure love, we don't have to ask for anything in return. If you've ever played with a small puppy or a kitten or a child, and you really are present with your feelings and the experience of it, what is being received, we're not asking for it, it's just that the return is just such this remarkable and beautiful experience. And it's recognizing that it doesn't have to be puppies, kittens, and children, that we can do this with human beings too. Take a deep breath in, fill lungs up with adults. Exhale, let it go. Not that children aren't human beings. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And one more time, deep breath in. Exhale, letting it go. Uncross the legs, switch the crossing of the legs. Opposite interlace of the hands behind the back of the right hamstring. Use your left forearm to the inner left thigh. Gently press it away. Flex both feet. And as you use your inner left thigh, or use your left elbow against the inner left thigh, back of the head down, shoulders down the back, collarbones spread. Deep breath in. Exhale. You know, and if we're in the practice of selfing, meaning being selfish, we're going to find a very difficult time in finding peace. Because selfishness pulls us away from the experience of peacefulness. I need this, I want this, I have to have this. This always being replaced by another this. That being replaced by another that. There's no construction of peace in that. It only pulls us further away from the experience of it. But I have found that with less desires, with less wants in general, peace is readily available to connect with. It doesn't mean don't have things. It doesn't mean renouncing all physical possessions or anything like that. It's just not letting our possessions or things that we own control us. Our attachments. Deep breath in. Exhale. And full breath in. Exhale. Lower the right foot down, uncross the legs, lower the left foot down. And then separate the feet about mat's distance apart, cactus the arms. As you cactus the arms, on the inhale, take your knees over to your right side. Exhale, knees over to your left side. Inhale, knees over to the right side. Exhale, knees over to your left side. Inhale, knees over to your right side. Exhaling, knees over to the left side. This time, inhale, knees over to your right side, and then pause. As you take your knees to the right, cross your right ankle over the outer left knee. Turn your head to your left. And she said, Peace Pilgrim said, no one can find inner peace except by working, not in a self-centered way, but for the whole human family. And so it's not just about, ourselves, But we have to consider other people to find that peace. If I was, and I reflect on my life through meditative practices, and the other day I was reflecting and looking back at how I would be afraid to give things like business books or leads or ties that I have to others because I didn't want someone to get my business and things like that, rather than sharing that stuff and being okay with it. Because ego is what gets in the way. And when I look back at my old sales career, I could very much see with clarity how much ego I was holding onto. And I feel that's just the humbling process as we grow. No harm, no foul, it's in the past. But can we learn from our past experiences? We live in a quote-unquote competitive world at times, not a peaceful world. What if we let go of competition? Is that going to hurt us? Terribly so. Honestly, terribly so. Listen for the narratives pop up in the head. Is that really going to hurt us if we compete a little less and work more towards peace? Honest questions. And the reason why I say just pay attention to the narratives is because the narrative that pops up in a self-inquiry question, that initial answer that may try to fight the question, is what holds us back in the first place. Uncross the legs. On an inhale, come back towards center. Exhale, take the knees over to the left. Turn the head to the right. Cross your left ankle over the outer right knee. And when I was always competing against other people and always in a state of competition, I recognized that I didn't have a lot of true friends. I had support in my life, but I didn't have a lot of true friends. But it was when I started letting go of the competition and doing it more for the sake that, wow, this is a gift that we're all given, that peace is here. Peace just naturally starts to flow in, and those relationships that surround that also flow in too. And now I look around and I find that I just have so many wonderful people in my life that I'm incredibly grateful for, that I never would have in the past if I was afraid and stayed afraid to switch. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Uncross the legs. Bring the knees back towards center. Bring the feet together. Let the knees fall wide apart. And then extend your arms out to the sides. Palms face up. Just let the outer knees move down towards the ground. As the outer knees move down towards the ground, try not to fight it. Slow the breath down. Breathe down into the lower pelvic bowl, so down towards your pelvis. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Peace Pilgrim said, one little person giving all of her time to peace makes news. Many people giving some of their time to peace can make history. Friends, let's make history. We're making it right now just by being here. And in the grand eternal nature of things, I find that peace is a lesson that we all must learn sooner or later. And peace has many, many subtle layers to it. Explore those subtle petals of peace. Experience the softness rather than the harshness if we've lived a harsh life. Experience the softness of peace. You deserve it. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale. Slowly take the hands down to the outer thighs. Bring the knees together. And then bring both knees into your chest. As you bring both knees into your chest, let's start to rock up and down the length of our spines. As we rock up and down, start to get some momentum. Rock up and down so much with balance, with control, with peace. And let's rock over our feet. Come on to our hands and knees. Tabletop positions. As we come into a tabletop position, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, tuck your toes. Now I'm going to use the blocks today. Sometimes elevating the body allows us to find a little bit more arch in our back. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. I always suggest investing in some. If you plan on keeping the yoga practice for a while, the physical practice anyways, buy some blocks, buy some straps, help yourself out a little bit. It will bring more peace to your practice. So with the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the knees, let's move through some cow and cat poses. Inhale, pull the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone. Inhaling peace. Exhaling peace. Inhaling peace. Exhaling peace. Inhaling peace. Exhaling peace. Inhaling peace. Exhaling peace. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhaling. And inhaling. Exhaling. Finding a neutral spine. Let's come off our blocks and come on to our hands. And then just start to circle your hips out. Now, in the practice of peace, this came up for me too. Finding peace with our emotions, finding peace with our feelings. Sometimes we have these narratives or talk tracks that might creep in that say, I'm not worthy of this. Well, that I'm not worthiness thought or idea prevents us from experiencing peace. The I'm not good enough is an unpeaceful way of thinking. The I am lacking something is an unpeaceful way of believing. The truth is, friends, you're not lacking anything. You're enough. You always have been. Just because somebody told us that may have been the case, they might have not been in their right mind, or they probably were not in their peaceful mind, because if they were in their peaceful mind, they would not say things like that. One of the deepest pools of peace can be found in silence, in stillness. Take one more round. On the next inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, opposite direction. Circle the hips out. Roll the shoulders. Circle the head. It's amazing how we let others who are not in a peaceful state disturb us from our peaceful states of mind and being. All right, take a couple more rounds. Coming back around. As we come back around, let's step our right foot forward. Inch the left knee back. If you need to double up your mat for support, please double up your mat for support. Then grab your blocks, if you have blocks, and lift your chest up. We're coming into a low runner's lunge, working on alignment. And alignment eventually helps to create peace in the body. Right knee over right ankle. Right hip firms in. Hips, pelvis, move forward and down. Chest lifts, open heart. Collarbones spread. Shoulder blades down the back. Point through the back left toes. Deep breath in. Exhale. Full breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Let go of worry. Deep breath in. Exhale. Worrying about things in the future that are beyond our control does not help and does not bring peace. One more deep breath in. Exhale, begin to straighten through your right leg, flex your right foot, walk your blocks back. As you walk your blocks back, the blocks are there to help us lengthen our spine. By lengthening the spine rather than rounding the spine, we're able to take deeper, fuller breaths. Press your right heel down, right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. Long, slow, smooth breath in. Exhale. Long, slow, smooth breath in. Exhaling. Long, slow, smooth breath in. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Walk the blocks forward, bending into your right knee. And let's slide the right foot back. Let's switch sides. Take the left foot forward, right knee back, left knee over the left ankle, right hip forward, left hip in, left toes point forward. Try to reach the right toes back, pressing down through the top of the right foot. Then sit into the hips. Other things that can detract us from peace. Comparison. If we're comparing ourselves to others, we're not in a state of peace. If we're jealous of others, what other people have, what they're doing, we have to look inwards at ourselves and ask ourselves honestly, what part of me needs to be jealous? This is all self-inquiry, things that we can overcome if we choose to do the work. Lifting the chest, full breath in. Exhale. Because if we're constantly giving our energies towards comparison, jealousies, not that which is us, we deplete ourselves. And we find ourselves in a state of unrest rather than peace. Deep breath in. Exhale. And full breath in. Exhale. Slowly start to take your hips back. Flex your left foot, press your left heel down, curl your left toes back towards your nose. Right hip forward, left hip back and in, left heel pressing downwards. Reach your heart forward. Long, slow breath in. Exhale. Try to keep the spine long and extended. Inhaling. Feeling it in the left hamstring, left calf. Exhale. Full breath in. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Walk the blocks forward. Bend into your left knee. Sit the hips forward and down. Inhale. Exhale. Slide the left foot back. And then let's come into a child's pose. Knees wide apart, big toes touch. Crawl the hands out in front of you. Let the chest move down towards the ground. Lengthen through the side waist, side back, rib cage. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Deep breath in. Exhaling. And full breath in. Exhale. We must align ourselves with peace and teach from that space within where peace is. Sometimes that means holding back words that make insight or cause violence or frustration or agitation. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale. Exhale. Slowly start to walk the hands in, lift the chest up. And let's swing our legs around and take our legs out in front of us. Shake the legs out. Flex the feet. On an inhale, arms reach upwards. Exhale, seated forward fold. Fold over the legs. If you have a strap and you want to use a strap, please use one. And so finding peace in our bodies. Where there is tension, there is intention somewhere. There's an intention to do something. And while I feel it's valuable and important to practice self-discipline, they call it tapas in yoga, tapas. When we set intentions, let them be realistic. Let us build roadmaps to them so as not to put the body into too much tension. Otherwise, that intention will manifest as tension in the physical form of the vessel body. If we want to find peace with our bodies, we must learn to look at them a little bit differently. Just as if we want to experience peace in our vehicle cars that we use to drive around, well, we're going to check the oil regularly, we're going to put gasoline in it regularly, we're going to check our tires and change our tires and align them on a regular basis in order for that to happen. To find peace in our bodies, we must develop certain practices that allow us an understanding and an access to it. So that way we're not walking through life in these bodies with as much stress, tension, and pain. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Spreading hate speech does not contribute to peace. In the long term, though, peace will override. We must get through this lesson. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, shake your legs out. Once we commit to the lesson of peace, peace naturally starts to flow into our life. Bring the sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. Take the right leg long. Rotate your chest to the right leg. Inhale, arms reach upwards. Exhale, fold over your right leg. Right hip draws back. Left hip draws forward. Subtly press your right heel forward. Lengthen out and over the right leg. If you touch your toes, great. If not, that's okay too. Touching your toes is not going to bring peace, okay? So if it's not in this lifetime that you don't touch your toes, it's okay. It may bring a temporary satisfaction of peace, don't get me wrong, but, let that not be a defining factor of peace or not. And I can honestly say, anecdotally speaking, that the more peace that I've found in my life, and it's like an onion, there's many, many layers to it, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of layers to unpeel and look at. But I've noticed when I've become more at peace with myself, and not so much the idea of who I think I am, but just letting this natural thing unfold as it's supposed to, peace follows with it, and there is a natural opening that takes place in the body that aligns with that. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale. Left leg forward, right foot tucks in, sole the right foot, inner left thigh, rotate your chest towards the left leg. Inhale, arms reaching upwards. Exhale, fold out and over the left leg. All teachings come at just the right time and at the right moment. All teachings come at just the right time and at the right moment. Left hip draws back, right hip draws forward, left heel presses forward. Spine lengthening, heart reaching forward. Deep breath in. Exhale. Full breath in. Exhale. Peace Pilgrim said, the simplification of life is one of the steps to inner peace. A persistent simplification will create an inner and outer well-being that places harmony in one's life. Long, slow breath in. Exhale, let it go. Long, slow, deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. With your next inhale, lift your chest up. As you lift your chest up, take your right leg long, shake it out. And let's come into a comfortable cross-seated position. As we come into a comfortable cross-seated position, hands on knees, palms face down, lift the chest up, inhale. Exhale, circle the head out, go slow. And so a lot of the postures that you take in these practices, over these months, if you've been joining me for these recordings, you'll notice that a lot of them are the same. And there's a purpose to that. Because when we do a posture repetitively over and over and over again, we can begin to see the results of a consistent working at a particular pose or experience. And I feel it's important to reinforce this because yoga does not have to be complicated, friends. There's some beautiful postures in yoga, roll the shoulders out, and I feel there's a time and a place for it as well. But I also recognize that some of that requires in-face teaching and not just teaching over a video. Because injuries happen that way, and I've seen so many injuries from the yoga videos that are out there, and the last thing that I want to do is contribute to these injuries. Granted, people will learn on their own, and that's part of the process of the practice. Circle your spine out. But sometimes the practice can be very boring or seem boring on the onset because it's the same poses. I did this yesterday or the day before. We did this last week. Well, being consistent in something repetitively can bring peace of mind. And that is the overarching goal. Quieting of mind. As you circle the spine, go big. They say, what's that old phrase? Go big or go home. Well, we're at home, so go big and stay home. Go big at home. I don't know. Go for 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Inhale, lift the chest up. And this came up for me too. If you really want to experience peace of mind, don't pretend to be anybody else. Be you. Be just who you are. You don't have to be anybody else. You're unique and special in your own right and way. Circle your head in the opposite direction. Because when we pretend to be somebody else, we start to power this persona where we're constantly having to think about how somebody else would act and then act that out. That just seems like double, triple work, which is exhausting. Be your own authentic self. You are beautiful just the way you are. Please do not reject that statement, but rather embrace it. Recognize it. Remember. Ram Dass used to say that a lot. Remember peace. You know it. Remember peace. Roll the shoulders out. Circle the spine out. You know, I used to, just a personal thing, I used to drink quite a bit, and drinking was a form of temporarily finding peace. And it wasn't until I stopped drinking to really look at myself a little more, to understand what was preventing me from experiencing peace. That's when I recognized that alcohol wasn't the solution. Go for 5. And I'm saying that only for myself, by the way, not for anybody else. 4. But I also work with addicts in mental health, and I recognize it is a struggle, especially during this time. So I always just lovingly advise checking in with that, balancing it out, recognizing that you don't need a substance in you. You already have enough substance to bring peace. It's just rediscovering it. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, let it go. Let's uncross our legs and make our way onto our backs. As we make our way onto our backs, bring the knees into your chest. Let's come into a happy baby pose. Grab the outside edges of the feet, rock side to side. If you want to squeal like a happy baby, you can. If you want to laugh like a happy baby, you can. Whatever feels good. If you think that's ridiculous, that's okay. Think all you want. It's hard to find peace when we're thinking. Come back to center. Bring the knees into your chest. Lengthen the left leg forward. Right knee hugs in. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Right arm goes out to the right. Right shoulder down. Long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. And full breath in. Exhale. Bring the right knee into the chest. Bring the left knee into the chest. Take the right leg long. Inhale. Exhale. Twist across your body over to your right. Left arm goes out to the left. Left palm face up. Left shoulder down. Deep breath in. Exhale. exhaling. In deep breath in. Exhale. Slowly bring the left knee into your chest. Bring the right knee into your chest. Give yourself one final hug and a squeeze. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Fill lungs up. Sip in a little more air. Hug it all together. And on the exhale, release everything down towards the ground. Shavasana. Close the eyes. As you close the eyes, relax the head, face, lips, eyes, mouth, and jaw. Let the neck relax, throat relax, shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, spine, chest, belly, hips. Relax the upper legs, lower legs, ankles, feet, and toes. And as we meditate in our Shavasana, imagine a light inside of your heart, full of peace. Let that light fill your heart. Let it shine outward from your heart, this peace light. Let it move across the chest. Let that light move down into your belly. Let that light move down into your arms and hands, legs, feet, neck and head. Allow that peace light to fill your entire form. Let it radiate from you. Let that peace light fill your room, fill your home, fill your relationships and interactions. Affirmations. I choose to be at peace in this moment. I choose to embrace peace. I choose to allow peace to guide me. I lead with peace. I choose words of peace. I choose actions that are peaceful. I bring peace with me everywhere I go. I allow peace in this moment. Peace is with me in this moment. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. Take a long, slow breath in. Exhale, let it go. Full breath in. Exhale, let it go. And deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Slowly start to move your fingers and toes. Circle out the wrists and ankles. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Turn the head side to side. With the deepest, longest inhales all day, reach the arms up and over the head. Give yourself a nice long stretch. And on the exhale, release the arms down. Placing a gentle bend in the knees, roll over to your left side. Use the right hand, press yourself up, come into a comfortable seated position. And as you come into a comfortable seated position, sharing the last couple quotes from Peace Pilgrim. She said, "Keep your feet on the ground and your thoughts at lofty heights. Humanity has only scratched the surface of its real potential." And she says, "Praying without ceasing is not ritualized, nor are there even words. It is a constant state of awareness of oneness with God. It is a sincere seeking for a good thing, and it is a concentration on the thing sought with faith that it is attainable." Please take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. We'll finish with an Om. Inhale. Inhale, fill lungs. Exhale, bow the head down towards the hands. Honoring yourselves, your practices, for showing up on your mats. We honor our friends, families, loved ones, and supporters. In gratitude for the many gifts, blessings, and abundance that shows up in our lives. And in gratitude to the many teachers and guides who came long before us, who passed along these practices called yoga. Releasing the hands down, opening the eyes, lifting your chins. Thanks so much, friends. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you. If you need anything at all, please reach out. I hope that you have a peaceful day. You know, as we move from our mats and the rest of our day, have peace on the heart. Visit that word often throughout the day. See how we can contribute to it. See what it yields for us. I promise, the more that we connect with it, the more peace we experience, not just within, but also outside. This is community. This is more than just sides. I appreciate you, I love you, and grateful for you eternally. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Ho'oponopono. Aho. Namaste. Thanks, friends.